Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to my series here on sort of an in-depth train signaling video. In this one, we are going to re-add this third network because inevitably, even though train networks usually start with a point-to-point, inevitably you are going to eventually want to branch off of that and go somewhere else. I'm going to leave the tutorial. I don't usually do this in my republics, but I'm going to leave the tutorial loop around here with this sort of one way in, one way out um, architecture here. And I did delete these when I put together the last video. This used to be connected in just because I wanted to show this network in a more simpler form, with just the point to point without any intersections. So connecting this in, I think it's a good review anyway. So first I'm just going to clear these out, and these trains aren't going to be happy, but that's okay. Because if you remember, you don't want any signals in your intersections. So right. So train coming out of here, we want that to be able to come in, and go this way. Oh, I guess I have to play it to have that construction happen. And inbound trains, or sorry, I'm used to autopiloting these. So, okay. So this is fine, right? So trains coming this way can go up this way, or they can go straight. Trains coming back out can only go this way, but not that way, at least currently, right? So, and then trains coming in this way have no option of going up. So let's complete that, right? Like this. And then this like that, and hopefully the game is okay with us. And by the way, this is more a cleanliness thing, but you can use this tool here to connect things when drawing these tracks, and then, like, you know, in realistic mode, having the builders go out later, you want these all to be single. There are no, okay, so that each section of track will be treated as one construction project. That's just going to be way more efficient for you. All right, so we have a junction here now, which is fully directional. So trains can come in, go out however they please. But you'll notice that currently we've got a lot of orange here. So again, this is a little bit of a recap, so I'm going to go through this quickly. And where do we want the orange? We want the orange on the intersection, and the intersection only. And then following our rules, if we're going into the intersection, we want a chain. That's going to be there, there, and there. And if we're leaving it, we don't want the chain. So there, there, and here. And now that we have all these borders set up, these trains are just a little bit confused currently. We've kept the orange to just our T junction here. That's all well and good. I believe, since I added these two pairs, so I've increased the line capacity, sort of incidentally, of my my system here. And these trains should be now flowing a lot more smoothly once things kind of reach a steady state here. And let's actually count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I now have 12 capacity on just the main line. On the whole network, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay? So this can hold a lot of trains. But the other thing to remember is, now with more than 2 stations, I counted 18 there, but if I put 18 all going on this point to point, that's not going to work, because effectively none of them are going to be using this. So this is another reason that I personally don't think too hard or worry too much about this whole line capacity idea. It's good to have in the back of your head, but when things get more complicated, it starts to become pretty meaningless really quickly, unless you're really, really good at logistics and keeping track of which trains are going where. So that's not really the intent of this video, nor frankly maybe even within the within the ability of my brain to process. But what I do know is I want to get some trains going this direction. And I think I want to set up two networks. So I'm going to do it this way. So I have main line, and I want to make a new one. So this one is going to go out here and come back. And let's just call that half line. Is that good enough? I'm not very good with coming up with names. And then I also want a new line. It's going to go from here to here to here to here to here. So this might be something more like a passenger rail, or if you think about the way a subway might work. This obviously this is a little bit unusual topology, but a train starts here, it goes out, goes to the end, then it just retraces its steps forever and ever. So these are going to be all open hull, just to keep the game happy and allow me sort of not having to build separate passenger platforms. I'm going to call this the passenger line, because this is the more typical flow of trains you will see for your passenger lines. Although not always. You may have two pickup spots in your cities and you want them all to go here where your big steel mill or whatever is. So let's throw together some trains. Might as well buy all these. I don't know why it doesn't let you put anything in the last spot, but I don't know, did I do that right? And I'm also keeping all these the same length, just for simplicity. But in case you've been wondering about that, they of course could be any length you want. It does just make it a little bit harder to, or you need to have wider spacing between your signals. Okay, so this is going to be interesting, right? Because we have this extra track here, but depending on how many trains are on each, and this is kind of what I was alluding to before, we may still deadlock. Okay. So let's put 3 on. Oh, is this not a... Why can I not assign this train to any of those new ones? Ah, okay. Just a filtering thing. So I'm going to do 3 on each. Gotta wait for them to clear. Alright, and then remove that. I don't know why it does that exactly. I've never experienced that outside the tutorial, so I don't know if there's something weird going on there. And I guess just so you all know, I have no idea what's going to happen either. Like I said, it becomes really hard to follow the line capacity math when you have more than 2 stations and trains going to different places and different routes along that. So, so 18, right? We know 18 is the most, but how many do I have in total? So the simple line's the one down here. I have 10. I only have 13. So we know we can't go. Well, we know we have 18 sections. We can't go above 17 trains. I'm at 13, so in theory we don't have a problem. However, you can see that right now, at least, and it may take a little while to get to steady state, but right now at least everything is jammed up here. This train needs to be let go. This one can finally come through now. These trains are going to start backing up because this is backed up. And so effectively, I think what we're kind of realizing is at 13, our network's looking pretty bogged down here. And in particular, it's on these main lines, right? One thing that at least I'm interested, so every train is hitting this station, not every train is hitting this station. But we seem to be clogged up there. All right, so in game we're looking at this. Okay, well, I've got some room here, right? We've got 2 trains stopped. Clearly there's enough room to put another section of track there. Come down here. That's borderline. Maybe we won't try and squeeze another one in there. And up here, there's no trains here, and this is likely not, or clearly, I should say, not the bottleneck in our system. But we can stick a couple more there just because it's easy to do. So we should see, sorry, I'll keep the colors up. We should see this start to free up a little bit. I think effectively all we do is add 2. So we added 2 more sections of track, so we should see things free up a little bit here. And one thing, I don't know if anyone has played Railway Empire. I played the first one, and after kind of seeing the second one simplified, what to me was already a fairly simple game, I wasn't so interested. But in the first one thing I liked is you could actually see utilization rate on your tracks. So you had an overlay that told you, 20% of the time this track is full. And a couple of things were interesting there. One, that's a pretty cool metric to track. It can tell you if you're kind of help you find the bottlenecks in your system. And the other interesting thing is just like even a relatively low number, like 30, 40%, 50%. You're like, well, half the time it's open, but it's interesting that you really don't want to go much above that. And maybe a more well-versed railroad engineer can explain that to me in the comments, but that's just what I noticed based on observation, at least in the game. So okay, so I don't think we need to belabor the point here. We added in the network, we reviewed how setting up this junction could look, and added some more complicated connections. I don't think it makes sense to sit here and kind of tweak what's going where. I would say in my experience is fairly common, the setup we have here, where the main line, just that basically the original line, has most of the trains, and then over time you added the station, you added some of these other, in this case the packs and half line routes, and yeah, things get a little bit more busy, and you can add in additional signals to an extent. But I guess maybe if I were to do another video here, and there's just not a lot of space to have all of the switching required for this, we could have our trunk line here go to potentially a third, or even 4th rail. We could add additional platforms here. Which is one thing I wish this game would make it easy to scale up the platforms. That would be really cool. As far as I know, you have to destroy this. You probably have to cut back some of the rail to put in the new station, even if it's the same length, and then it's just pretty inconvenient. You know, you could also do longer trains. I know that's not always, you know, less trains, but they're each longer. Maybe could help depending on where your bottlenecks are. See, this is interesting. This is now starting to back up. So clearly this is a very congested network, but I would say as far as simple things that we can do, we've done them all here. And if you want to see more, I'm happy to add more to the series, potentially looking again at more platforms. Maybe we can, this is just wide open field, we can expand this to additional, you know, sort of trunk line platforms. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.